You don't have to be a wine snob to be a wine expert. Elizabeth Snyder is host of the podcast Wine for Normal People. She's also the author of a new book, you guessed it, Wine for Normal People. And Elizabeth is here this morning to explain anyone can be an expert. So good to see you.
Thank you for having me, Ken.
Why is wine so intimidating for so many people?
Look, there's a high barrier to entry. You actually do have to know something. It's not one of these things where you can fake it till you make it. You do have to know something. And so the problem is people like to hoard the wine knowledge and they don't like to share it. And I just have a problem with that, so I don't do that.
Excellent. And the book is called Wine for Normal People, the podcast Wine for Normal People. You've been doing it for 9 years. What was the impetus for you to start the podcast?
I mean, it's exactly what we just said. You walk into a wine store. It's a little bit better in Raleigh. I feel like people are a little bit nicer, but sometimes you walk in and there's all these big shouldered bottles.
Exactly.
They all look the same. Can you try them on? No. So then you're like, is that a varietal, like a grape? Is that a place?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and unless you actually learn a little bit, but the problem is nobody's willing to teach you. It's like walking into the middle of a movie, it's all quiet and you're expected to know what's going on. And you can't really ask the person next to you because then you're bothering them. So that's kind of how it is.
Now, what are 3 things that we should know about wine?
Well, I think the first thing is it is something you have to learn about, right? So you can't just walk in and know something. So it requires a lot. But the other thing is you can get into it from so many different angles. So let's say you're somebody that likes history, or you're somebody that likes politics, or you're somebody that likes weather. There's all these different ways, culture, so many different ways to get into it. And the other thing is it is delicious, and it's something that people have enjoyed for so long that even though we have a snotty culture around it, who cares? Just love it for what it is.
You know, there's always a question, do you want red wine or white wine? My wife, Amanda, tends to go for the reds. I tend to go for white wines. I'm really a huge fan of Prosecco. So when you talk about wines, you've brought some wines with us today. A lot of people grab a bottle of wine to take to holiday parties. What do you recommend?
So I brought a couple. I think, so instead of your Prosecco, I'm going to tell you to get some Cava from Spain.
Okay.
Because a couple things. First of all, Prosecco is actually not made in the same way that champagne is made. So if you want something that's a little more like complicated, maybe a little bit more like champagne, that little more serious style. Cava's got it, but it's made from Spain, really great value. The category's changing, so there's high tier options, mid tier options, and low tier options. Fantastic, and it goes with so many foods. It pairs with everything.
Oh, that's excellent. What else?
I've got a Pinot Gris, which is your turkey wine. It goes really well with herbs. Do you drink Pinot Gris?
Big fan of Pinot Gris.
So Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio are actually the same grape. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
There you go.
See,
no, but listen, Ken, here's the deal. Like Pinot Grigio is made in this really light, thin style, but Pinot Gris got heft and spice.
So
and it's got a little bit more going on. So again, another one that just has the weight, but it still has acidity. Acidity is really key in food and wine pairing. And it's such a nice thing to bring to somebody. Pinot Grigio, I think, has gotten kind of a lowbrow reputation these days, but Pinot Gris is gorgeous.
Excellent. Next time I will order the Pinot Gris. What else you got for us?
And then I've got a wine from Ventoux, which is in the Rhone. And so we all go Côte de Rhone. Okay, it's easy to say, it's easy to buy, but this is a different appellation within the Rhone. It's a little bit more specific, a little bolder for your ham, for other things like that. So really great. I really, really love that wine.
And your book is really a guide to help us through.
I'm trying to make it actionable so that you can take the book, read what you want, and then actually go shopping and do something with it, as opposed to just being like, here's some boring information. Have a good day.
The book is called Wine for Normal People, the podcast, Wine for Normal People. You get the book right now, the podcast. You can download it at any of your favorite podcast sites. Elizabeth, happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. Thank you so much.